Sarah Amazing Grace. I am Sarah Grace. Welcome to The Remedy. I've had a lot of you guys reaching out. Why haven't you gone live, Sarah? You know, I haven't gone live since this immense, incredible tragedy because, I just wasn't sure the right words to say.
Right,
My mouth has been full of tears, really.
right. Me
I've
too.
been weeping and grieving. Romans 12:15 says that rejoice with those rejoicing, but mourn with those mourning. And I have been in just incredible mourning.
That's
And I'm here with my friend Bevelyn, and she also has been incredible mourning for this tragedy of somebody who we both knew in our hearts deeply, Charlie, and who had impacted both of our lives greatly. Whether we knew him personally or greatly in just our lives, he made big impact on both of us, and so
yes.
we both wanted to come on today and share our hearts about what Charlie meant to us, what this incredible impact he's had on our lives, and the impact that we see happening around us and in the world today, and the impact for the kingdom of God. And so, Bevelyn, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on and spend time with us here at The Remedy, because The Remedy is Jesus. And like Charlie said, tell someone this weekend about Jesus. And that's what we want to do. We want to honor Charlie and his life by talking about the remedy. And the remedy is Jesus. And
Yeah,
so,
so
so that's what we're doing today, right now. We're honoring Charlie by talking about Jesus. So welcome, Bevelyn. Thank you so much for coming on. So I've been yapping. Now I'm going to let you roll a little bit.
well, I'll start by telling people a story about Charlie that I when I met him personally, like I never really took pictures with him on like a photo op type level or anything like that. I was on my way to Chaz. You guys remember the autonomous zone. Me and Edmay were in Seattle, and Charlie had happened to be there. And at the time, Charlie had two hotel rooms. And I think he had they were like connecting, but I think he used one as an office and one for his place to sleep. So he's in there with the Proud Boys and he's on his computer. And so we go in, and at this time, Edmay knew who he was. I didn't. I was just a baby, like I wasn't a baby Christian, but I was just a Christian. I didn't really know much about political leaders because, again, with BLM kind of coming in and taking over and Chaz and all this Antifa stuff, you started to kind of meet the people that were working on the front line as far as politics because they started to sandwich together. I feel like greatly in 2020. So I'm in Seattle. Where I think we end up staying in the same hotel, or they told us where they were staying, so we booked a room at that hotel. Or we drove. No, we drove there to their hotel. Charlie was there. He was on his computer. He introduced us to the Proud Boys, and then he got up. And I remember him being really tall, and he shook my hand, and he shook at his hand. And he said, "I'm proud of you guys. You guys are doing well. I'm proud of you." And yeah, because of him, we had Proud Boys to protect us that day, and Chaz. And like, people don't realize, like, what you see on the front about Charlie, you don't know the half. What people have to realize about ministry, real ministers, what you see on the front stage is just a snippet of the things that they do behind the scenes to facilitate and to be there for kingdom. He's the reason why I went to the White House in 2018 for the Young Leadership Summit. And I had an experience meeting Trump and seeing Candace Owens at the time. He's the reason why Candace Owens is who she is today. He's the reason for Brandon Tatum and the platform that he had. This man built leaders. He built leaders, but he also let them fly. He let them soar. But um he just was, and what I see about Charlie is that the Charlie that he was then and the Charlie he was when he died was two different Charlies. And he was already conservative, don't get it twisted, and he was already solid in his faith. But it's like this man in his last days, he was gunning for Jesus. He was just gunning, blazing, and it was just like every word of the gospel on his tongue. And I believe his marriage, his family, watching God manifest himself in his life and walking in the living word. Like Charlie lived it. He lived kingdom, he lived dominion, he lived love. This man loved. He married the love of his life. He got to experience true love. God just, when you take the time and you look at the blessings that he had, you say, wow, God blessed him because he left this earth with two beautiful children, a wife that loves him. And I was so proud of her today because I saw the picture of her in the car. She just held up that cross.
Yeah. The cross that Charlie wore.
Yes. And you know, in this time when you go through something like that, it's so easy to get shaken in your faith. It's so easy to be like, God, wow, why did you do this? And to blame him and it turn you like really like I mean, when I was found guilty, when I was preaching and I went to trial and they found me guilty, I had 3 days in the bed. Like I needed 3 days in the bed. Like God had to really just pull me out of the bed and just resuscitate me in my like I just needed to be revived. And so one thing I could say is that in a hard time I went through, and I cannot compare it to hers because it's different. But in the hard time I went through, all I had was my faith. Being in prison, all of that, all I had was Christ. And just to see her hold up that cross and to realize that girl know what she got. She know what she got, and she knows she got Jesus. She knows it in tears, broken. And it's just like, wow, this man set a standard. He is a great example. He is a Stephen of our time. He is a Martin Luther King of our time. And people don't like when I say that, especially black folk. But respectfully, if you don't like what I'm saying, it's because you're racist. You're racist. Martin Luther King wasn't really Martin Luther King because he was black. Martin Luther King was Martin Luther King because he preached equality and judging people by their character. Well, that's what he preached on the forefront. We ain't gonna even go into what he was doing behind the scenes,
Right.
right?
Right.
Nonetheless, Charlie preached Jesus Christ resurrected.
Yeah.
You tell me who's better.
Right.
You tell me who's Jesus himself said, John the Baptist is the greatest.
Right.
But even one who preaches the kingdom is greater than him.
Right.
He called John the Baptist the greatest of all the apostles of Old Testament, all of them,
Right.
of Moses, Elijah, Elisha, Samuel, all of them. He said John the Baptist is the greatest. And then he said after that, but the one who preached, the least of them who preached the kingdom, they're greater than John. Martin Luther King did not preach the kingdom of God. JFK did not preach the kingdom of God.
Right.
Charlie did.
Yeah, he did.
Charlie did. Charlie is the greatest of this generation. Of this generation. I'm talking about the last time we knew somebody that was holding it like him on this level was like um a, a Catherine Kuhlman, a Charles Spurgeon. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm talking about one of them old greats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Charlie is that of this
Yeah.
era. Charlie's
Yeah.
that. And anybody that wants to say he's not, you're saying it because you're racist.
True.
Period. You
Yeah.
trying to play him down because he's white. You trying to play him down because you see him as a white privileged man. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. But let me tell you why. It really, I'm gonna keep it a buck. The reality is people don't want to give him the credit that he's due because they was jealous of him. You were jealous because Charlie had it all. And I believe even him being shot, yeah, they didn't like what he represented. Yeah, they didn't like his words, but they was also jealous. How I know this? Because they put Jesus on the cross for jealousy.
Yeah.
This man had the perfect life. And rather than them ask this man, how did you get this perfect life? How were you able to have wealth and love and a dominion and authority and power and a beautiful, gorgeous, first of all, his wife is a dime. She's a 10.
Yeah.
No questions about it. Shorty's a 10.
She
Okay?
is.
Kids, beautiful.
Yeah.
Even the way she's not even just like, you got them pretty girls that are pretty on the outside, but they ain't really got much to them. Nah, she pretty from the core out.
True story.
Even in her ugly face crying, she's beautiful. This is a Proverbs 31 chick all day, all night.
True story.
Okay? And Charlie was a David. He was a man of God. So people look at that And while they celebrate him, you can't deny people wanted to be him. People were jealous of him. I'm gonna say what it was, black and white alike. And a lot of reasons why the black community don't like Charlie and don't like certain and why they're racist is because of jealousy. It's jealousy. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. You're jealous, but no one wants to ask, how did Charlie get this life that he got that somebody stole from him? How? Because he honored God.
Yeah.
He surrendered his life at a young age. He made a decision at a young age to serve the Lord. So what people take 80, 70 years to accomplish, Charlie did it in 31. Living in his prime. Charlie was 31 years old, living in his prime. While you got people 45, 50 still trying to figure out where they're going, Charlie was there. And they stole it. And so it's just like, it's so many thoughts in my mind,
Yeah.
so many things I'm trying to put together mentally. And I'm just like, while I know the glory is still to come, I cannot not acknowledge the vileness and the wickedness of what they did, what they forced his wife and his children to see, how they rip. And he said it himself. He said, murder is the most unfair thing. He said it in one of his speeches. He said, murder is so unfair. Murder is the most unfair thing you can ever do because you steal somebody's future, you steal somebody's legacy, and somebody did that to that man. And so it's just so much I'm trying to gather and process about this thing. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's so unfair. It's so unfair, but also I saw a preacher, I saw a pastor say, it doesn't matter what this um what this what this person, this assassin, I don't want to say, what their plan was. God had set out the days before the foundation of the earth of Charlie's numbers, and God wasn't surprised, that Charlie's mission was finished, and that, I hope, even though it's so hard for us to think 31 years, how can that possibly be? But he accomplished so much in those 31 years, and what the legacy that he has left behind for people to run with, and uh, what he's left behind is so immense and massive, and what is growing and what is happening right now is so incredible. And
I love.
as I heard what this pastor said, I thought, okay, God, I don't like that. I don't like hearing that. What I want for Erica and those kids is, 120 years, of Charlie in his life, uh, but you are sovereign, and but
Mm-mm.
but we trust you, Lord. But what Charlie's legacy today, I saw our town square full of high schoolers praising the Lord in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of our town square,
Mm-hmm.
wearing their high school t-shirts in tribute to Charlie Kirk. High schoolers are
Mm-hmm.
in our town square full of these kids standing there in public, praising God openly in tribute to Charlie Kirk. And I
Okay.
thought, that is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Let me bring some type of visual to you. I hear what that pastor's saying, but that pastor, in my personal opinion, is speaking from an Old Testament mindset and not speaking
Mhm.
from the true heart of God for me personally. This is just my personal opinion. And this is
Mhm.
why I'm gonna say this. Let's talk about the devil for a second. Let's understand our enemy. I think sometimes we talk about our God and we give no credit, or we don't give any kind of foundation for the work of the devil, which Jesus came to destroy the work of the devil. Number one, you don't really hear much about Satan in Old Testament. Okay. You hear little snippets like when David did a census, and then Satan influenced David to do a census and here and that, and then you hear some stuff about him falling from lightning, this, that, and the other. But you really don't get a full scope of Satan, Lucifer, like that in Old Testament. You get a better understanding of Lucifer in New Testament when one person hits the scene, Jesus. Jesus,
Jesus.
because Jesus exposed Satan, sickness, disease, mute, people that had epilepsy, things like that. Jesus was the one who exposed that. We today we look at seizures and we think, oh, that's just a brain illness. Jesus said it was a demon and he cast it out, right? So Jesus, he
Right.
saw a woman, the son of Sarah that was of Abraham, the son of Abraham, daughter of Abraham that was afflicted, and she was bent over, and he lifted her up on the Sabbath, and they were upset, and he was mad at them for that. Like, why y'all mad? Y'all would let your sister of Abraham be afflicted by Satan, and he said by the devil for this long. Like, you would be okay with that, and you tripping off of the Sabbath, right? So why am I saying this? You see young kids, right? Young thugs, gangsters, they die early. They go out here shooting and killing and they die early. But they die early because they're pawns. Okay? They're like little pawns that Satan uses to keep chaos and sin. His agenda is to steal, kill, and destroy. Right? So you have people like that, these little gangsters and thugs that work to steal, kill, and destroy. But then you have somebody like a George Soros. Let's compare the two. Okay? You have a rapper like Young Bond who gets shot, but in his short life, he push this music of gangster rap and shooting and killing, and he was very wicked. He was young, but he was so wicked, but he died early, right? And you would expect a type of death like that from somebody like him because he was so wicked. But then you have a George Soros who is high ranking wicked. He funds
Mhm.
satanic things. He funds evil. He pushes evil. You have a Biden, and they're old. A Bill Clinton. They look like the Walking Dead. They look like they're dead, but they're still alive, and they're just living
Mhm.
this long life and just doing wicked. What's the difference between the two? Well, when you look at chess, you have pawns and you have the kings and the queens who run the show. Okay, that's how the enemy operates. And the enemy's job is to steal, kill, and destroy. The enemy used a pawn to take out Charlie. Now, who is Charlie? Charlie is a king, right? But he's not only in the back making moves, he's in the front lines too. He was an evangelist. He was an evangelist of
Mhm.
the gospel. Charlie was a front line soldier. God did not say, hey, okay, Charlie, I'm only going to give you 31 years on this life. You just going to do what you need to do and then you're going to die. No, the enemy hates us, Sarah. He hates us. And he wants to kill us every day of our life. He's been trying to kill us from the womb down. He hates children. He tries, if he doesn't kill them in the womb, he tries to destroy their identity through molestation, through perversion. And if it doesn't work, then he makes them criminals. And if criminals don't work, he makes them psychotic. And if psychotic don't work, Satan, people don't realize you got to understand, children of the devil, they're not thrown the book the way we're thrown the book because Satan uses them. Okay, he has his young pawns that he's gonna have die early, but they'll cause a lot of destruction. Little petty fires that he needs to keep his destroying going. But then he has his generals, I say, that he keeps nice and old, running just old and just full of witchcraft and black magic and all because they're in it. All right, let's Pizzagate, all that stuff is real. They're in that sacrificing children, all of that. But
Yeah.
the thing is, they're not
Yeah.
being hit with the darts like we're being hit with because he has them where he wants them. You understand? But
Yeah.
us that have made a choice to choose Christ, we were already being hit at a young age. Some less than, I was hit more as a young child by Satan than others, but I was also many called, few were chosen. Everybody's called, but you have some that are picked. Charlie was picked. Charlie was picked. And so you have to
Yeah.
understand, if you ask his wife, I can guarantee you, Charlie has so many testimonies of how the enemy tried to take him out, tried to end him, and how he was hit with every dart possible. but he stood
Yeah.
strong in his faith. And unfortunately, this one was just successful. Why am I saying it like this? Because we fail to realize sometimes we are in a war. We're in a war, and there's a devil. There's a devil that wants to kill us because he hates us. He hates you, Sarah. He hates me. He hates our existence. He hates the way we walk. He hates the way we talk. He hates the way we breathe. Every moment we get out this door and we walk this walk, it is going to be a possibility that it may end for us today because we serve Jesus. That doesn't mean in God's sovereignty, he just set it up for us to die. No, we were born into a war because our father, me and your daddy, we have a same daddy,
Yeah.
Adam.
True story.
Adam fell and he gave dominion to Satan. And though Jesus has taken it back and all things are suggested under his feet, Satan now uses man to push his agenda. He's lost. He know he lost. But while man is deceived, Satan uses man to push his agenda. So now think of it like this. We're all made in God's image. We're all gods, right? We're demigods. We're the son of God. We're the sons of God, okay? And we're on this earth and we have dominion and power and authority. Why? Because in New Testament, no, in Genesis, it was given to us. Adam gave it
Mhm.
over. He forfeited it, right? And then Jesus took it back. But now, with Jesus taking it back, only certain people can operate in it because they have to accept Jesus to get it back. So you have a group of people who've accepted Jesus and took back dominion, power, and authority unto God. But then you still have another group of people who are still bound by old Adam. They're Cains and they're bound by sin. And now I have to walk this walk with someone that, okay, how can I say it? There's some people that are demonically possessed, right? And you can cast
Mhm.
demons out of
Right.
them. But there are some people who are mentally, they don't need to be possessed. They have conspired and agreed with the demons without needing entry. Their mind is made up to serve.
Right.
And those to me are the most dangerous. Because a
Right.
person that's demonically possessed, they don't have control. It's a demon. So you have the authority to tell them, come out of him, right? But a person that has
Right.
not been entered by a demon, but yet has mentally just made his mind to serve Satan, what do you do with him? What do you do with him? He got to die. Either he got to repent or he got to die. There's no in between, right?
Right.
So us Christians, we are in a very intricate war. We're in a very challenging position because we're at war all the time. David said,
Right.
yea, though I walk through the valley and the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Charlie did not
Right.
fear, right? Charlie walked through this thing with no fear because he honored God. And he said, even if God forbid something happens to me, one thing I will be known for is my faith. But now, what's
Faith.
the glory in this? Because again, if Satan knew, God has a way of establishing victory different than what Satan does. The foolish things of the world. God has made the wisdom of the world foolish. You understand?
Yeah.
So in worldly wisdom,
Right.
Satan thinks I'm going to kill him because that's his agenda. He only knows how to steal, kill, and destroy. I hate him. He's too effective. I'm going to kill him. But he doesn't have a mind to realize that even God uses death to destroy. Oh, death, where's your sting? Where's your sting?
Right.
So now what Satan doesn't fathom is that now the spirit that Charlie carried, and I'm gonna tell you why I know for a fact Charlie carried a specific spirit. I'm gonna use Candace Owens as an example. Candace Owens was smart, Candace Owens is witty. But if you really pay attention to Candace, a lot of her mannerisms and certain ways she finesse, she got it from Charlie. She learned a lot. She gleaned from Charlie. You understand? A lot of how she
Mhm.
debates and how she does things. That is Charlie. She learned from Charlie.
Yeah. Well, they were together a long
Yes. So
time.
she
Yeah.
she had to glean from him. I'm gonna give you a secular example, okay? You have a Little Wayne and a Nicki Minaj, okay? Nicki Minaj, listen, is she a woman of God? No. But is she talented lyrically? Come on. Like let's keep it a
Yeah.
buck.
Yeah.
She can spit, right? But
Yeah.
Little Wayne is he's demonic in a lot of things he says. But the man, he says, I can see the vision like a line between two dots. You do you understand
Mhm.
like that metaphor? I could the division sign is a
Yeah.
line and two dots, and he said I can see the like
Yeah.
he's really intelligent in how he finesses his rhymes, right? Nicki Minaj
Yeah.
gleaned off of him. So now she became a greater rapper because she took on Lil Wayne's spirit of lyricism. And
Mm.
that's why now,
Yeah.
really, as far as rappers go, she's top. She's better than Little Kim. I mean, for me, she's top as far as lyrical gifting, right? She gleaned from his
Right.
spirit.
Right.
So now Charlie Kirk has the spirit of debate and taking in wisdom and bringing it back to a worldly logic to where he can even preach the gospel and it just sound like science.
Yeah.
Genius. The man was a
Right. Right.
genius. He was so smart. He was
Yeah.
sharp. And he
Yeah.
went to Cambridge, debated the whole Cambridge, completely unprepared, tired, and everything, and still was holding it with the whole Cambridge. They needed
Right.
notes to roll with
Right.
Charlie. Charlie was
Right.
that dude.
Right.
What? Charlie was
Right.
rolling with
Right.
Cambridge, old bougie stush British Cambridge. He pulled up, no phone, no notes, nothing. It was holding it with the whole dang on campus. Okay? This dude
That's
was
right.
nothing to
That's
play
right.
with.
That's right.
But now, the spirit of Charlie is going to be on all of these
Yeah.
kids and greater. And
Yeah.
Charlie didn't just talk to a couple hundred, couple. Charlie changed millions of kids' lives. And now they're going to
Yeah. He
take
sure
on
did.
his spirit, his logic,
Yeah.
his wisdom, his fight, his
Yeah.
wordplay. And dare I say, the signs and wonders are going to follow these kids. Kids are going to raise these kids
Yeah.
that Charlie set the standard, but he worked the ground. Charlie was an evangelist
Yeah.
plowing the ground, getting the ground ready for the harvest because there's a harvest coming.
Yeah.
And Charlie is the pivotal
That's
point
right.
of this great harvest. And he literally
Yeah.
prepared the children to do what he did. His spirit's about to fall on millions
Yeah.
of children. These
Yeah.
kids today, these 12-year-olds, you better walk right. You better be solid. You better not be one of these, I've been a Christian for 30 years, but I understand this and this. You better not be fake, because these kids gonna call you out. These kids gonna G-check you. These kids gonna say,
Yeah.
oh, wait, what? But nah, gonna tear you down with facts like Charlie did. And you gonna sit there mad because you got checked by a 12-year-old about your lack of faith when you 35. That's what's
That's
happening.
right.
It's
That's
coming.
right.
It's coming.
Yeah.
So
It's coming.
Satan thought he was doing something. That's the wisdom. The wisdom of the world is that when we die and we end a short life, Satan's got the victory. He was successful, and we don't know why God allowed it, but he did. And God,
Yeah.
that's worldly wisdom. But
Yeah.
godly wisdom says, my father, while yes, he is sovereign, he's good and he loves us.
Yeah.
What parent would you
Yeah.
set your kid up to die early? Would you set your own
Yeah.
child up? And I'm talking to the viewers. Would you would you okay? I'm gonna let my 12-year-old live. I'm gonna let my kid live till about 12. They're gonna be the one to teach all the kids and then they could just go at 12. Would you do that? So why would you blame God for that? Why would you say God would do that? He's a better parent than us. He loved Charlie. Charlie's his son. His wife. He's grieving right now with his wife. God is in bed holding his wife and comforting her. The Holy Ghost is holding her right now because this is not God's will. God never wanted this to happen. We know this because of the flood. He saw all the evil going on in the world and he said, dang, they out here
Yeah.
wilding. God is grieving. He's regretting that he ever made man. So he was like, I got to flood the earth. I can't deal with it. And then Noah did what he did. God was like, all right, Moses, I'm gonna put this rainbow down in this covenant. I ain't gonna do that no more. But he's grieved himself. Nonetheless, the wisdom of the world is not the wisdom of God. So just when the enemy thought
That's right.
that, hallelujah, Jesus won the victory. He won it all for us. Death could not hold him down. And this is what Charlie preached, the risen Christ. He didn't preach Jesus on the
Yeah.
cross for me because I'm a sinner and I'm a loser and I just need a savior so I could be better. No, Charlie preached a risen Jesus. He preached
That's
a
right.
victory. He went to these schools and he
Yeah.
preached a God that even though the enemy thought he could take him out and kill him, he played himself and he was risen. He did not decay in the grave. We still know the graves of the old. Jesus doesn't have a grave because he is
Yeah.
risen at the right hand of the Father. That's what Charlie preached.
Right.
And so for me to sit here and be like, oh, God, just let it happen, it is not, we're not going to operate thinking that we're just going to go out here and die martyrs and we're all just going to die. No, it's not going to happen like that. We're going to go out here with our full armor of God on and we're going to wage war. No warrior goes into war thinking about death. They have a goal and they run to get the goal done. That's what
That's
Charlie did.
right.
And so we're not going to sit here and do the woe is me, because a warrior, when a warrior goes to war and come home, the last thing people do is say, well, God, we don't know why. God, why? No, they honor his life and say he was a soldier and he went to fight and he did what
Yeah.
he had to do. And he's a leader. He came back
Yeah.
honored, badged up, awards, because he went and he fought the good fight. There's no other way to talk about Charlie but in that regard, because he was a true soldier of God. Anything less than that for me is a disservice to God and it's a disservice to Charlie.
Yeah. Yep. God has all of this, and I really have to cling to Romans
Yes.
8:28 in this, that all things, and even in this, which looks so bleak, but that all things work together for the good for those who love
All
God
for
and
his good purpose.
are called
That's
according to
right.
his purposes. And we know that Charlie was called according to
That's
God's
right.
purpose. And so we know that the first part is true, that all things, including this, will work together for the good, and it
That's right.
already is.
That's right.
It already is working
That's
together
right.
for the good. And so even though we don't understand, and God works outside of time
That's
and
right.
space. Jesus came to
Right.
this earth, and Jesus is the Son
Yes.
of God. And Jesus lived only 33 years on this earth, and his mission was done. And his death was incredibly heartbreaking and hard for his disciples and the apostles. They were shocked. But what transpired, and what has transpired over all of these years, 2000 years
Yes.
later,
Yeah.
has changed the whole of humanity.
Yes.
And the impact that his life and death and resurrection has had over all of
Yes.
this time. And so and the shedding of the blood of, and the resurrection of Jesus, and the living Christ, and the change that Jesus affected, that Charlie spoke of and stood for, and the truth of
Yes.
Jesus, that is who Charlie spoke of, was the true Jesus, not some hippie Jesus who accepted all of the sin and told people not to sin. Told people to go ahead and live in your sin. Charlie spoke of the true Jesus, and a lot of people
No.
didn't like that. He spoke of living a righteous life, and Charlie lived a life that reflected a
Yes,
biblical
he did.
Christianity. And a lot of people didn't
Yes.
like that. And they talked about his life as if he was living a life of bigotry. And it wasn't. He was living a life of biblical
That's right.
Christianity, of
That's right.
righteousness,
And you're
of
jealous.
righteousness.
You're
And
mad.
people are mad. Oh, actually, the demons are
Yes.
mad. They were mad that it irritated people's demons inside of them, that someone was living
That
a
they
life
didn't
of
choose to
biblical
live.
righteousness. Yeah, they were living they're living a life not of righteousness, and Charlie was living a life of righteousness out loud, and living and speaking truth. That's what a lot of people get
Right.
upset about. They want to smooth over with frosting, and want to have this perfectly frosted looking cake, and have this peaceful. No, just keep the peace. Don't rock the boat. And Charlie would speak truth, and sometimes truth is not always comfortable for
Right.
people to hear. People would rather have sugar coated, easy to swallow lies, and not live in uncomfortable truths. And in a kind way, always. But Charlie would sometimes speak uncomfortable
Right.
truths. And that is the way Jesus spoke as well. People forget that Jesus called people out very, very often. And Jesus always said, go and sin
Right.
no more. Jesus always, after performing a miracle, and when Jesus would heal somebody, he always said, go and sin no more. He always had the requirement of living a biblically righteous life for people. When he healed the man of his paralysis, he said, go and sin no more so that worse things
Right.
won't happen to
That's
you.
right.
And, you know,
That's right.
they killed
That's
Jesus
right.
too for speaking
Oh yeah.
truth. And, this is, it's not, and I'm not saying that Charlie is Jesus. Don't get it twisted. That's not what I'm saying. There's only one Jesus,
Well,
and Charlie, spoke, and
wait,
gave his life to Jesus. But I'm
no,
saying
I think I
that
will affirm what you
Charlie,
said though.
you know,
I don't want you to back out of that. I want
yeah,
you to know. He said, greater works we shall do, right? And we're all supposed to
yeah,
be just like Demi Jesus is, right? Because Jesus was the first, right? So that we could be the many. So he is like a Jesus. He is. Why? Because he, number one, it'd be one thing if Charlie was not submitted unto Jesus and did not follow Jesus. Then I would be like, nah, that's
yeah,
a counterfeit. But Charlie
yeah,
did. He was
yeah.
a son, he was a brethren of Jesus. He was one
That's
of the
right.
many that Jesus said would come after him in a symbolization the way he did, the same way Stephen was a form of a Jesus. After Stephen got stoned, Stephen was a form of a Jesus too. And then here comes Charlie. So no, is he Jesus Christ himself? Obviously not, but the spirit of Jesus
No,
Christ is
right.
upon him. He was one with
Lives in
Christ.
him.
He
Yes.
communed with
Hmm.
Christ. And so yes, he was a form of a
That's right.
Jesus. So yeah, no, I'm gonna back
Yeah.
you on that. I'm
I
gonna
see what
back
you're
you on
saying.
that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah. And as a follower and as somebody Christ dwells within us, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. So as someone who's taken up the charge to speak of Jesus, taken up the charge of Charlie, that
that's
is what
right.
we're doing. We're telling you who is watching right now, we're telling you about Jesus. And we're telling you about Jesus the Christ, Jesus of Nazareth, the real Jesus, not hippie Jesus that they try and portray on TV who wants to placate to everybody. I'm telling you about the real Jesus, the one who will save you and who will change you, and the one who often makes people mad, you know? The real one. Jesus can make people change your life, and he will save you and change you, but sometimes the truth makes
Right,
people mad. And that's okay, because that is the truth that's going to change your life. The one that Jesus came to seek and save that which is lost, and that is the life changing truth.
right,
And that's the truth that Charlie lived
right,
for every
right,
day. And so to honor him, it's the truth that we
right,
stand on. Not the sugar-coated, candy-coated. If you want that, go to C's
right,
Candy. But if you want the real truth, crack open the word
right.
of God.
And just to what you said earlier about people saying, oh, don't ruffle those feathers, don't do that. Well, guess what? God forbid you leave this earth, you better hope two people show up to your funeral. One thing I've learned about people that die, you want to know what type of person they really were? You're going to see it in death because you know them by their fruit. Sometimes a person's
Mhm.
death is their fruit. I'm going to give you an example. I know a guy in France. He had a brain tumor and he was dying. He was a Edme's from Paris, so it was a friend of Edme's. She would go to Paris and try to pray for him and encourage him. And she really wanted him to surrender to Christ because she wanted him to be healed. And he really just dealt with a lot of like trepidation when it comes to surrendering his life to Christ. And he low key blamed Christ because of his brain tumor. He was very young. So now, um, long story short, he's getting sicker and sicker, and Edme's again just trying to talk to him and convince him. And I remember I was like, I felt the urge to go to France to talk to him. And we prayed and we was like, Lord, if it's meant for us to go to France to talk to him, send us. And we didn't go. It's like usually when I ask God to send us somewhere, if it's his will, we go, and if it's not, it's not. I really just flow in his will, and that's just it. So we ended up not going. So I'm like, all right, it wasn't it, right? Now he dies. At his death, he has a witch doctor, I guess, that he had been dealing with. That so Edme would try to minister to him and it wasn't budging. All the while, Edme didn't know he was entertaining a witch doctor and he was entering into ancestry and things like that. And
Mm.
so they had like dead chickens at his house when he was there, and the witch doctor moved in to like do certain ceremonial things for his body. And it was like when he died.
Oh, so like real witch doctor. This is like real witch
Girl,
doctor
like
stuff.
real, like
Oh,
Haitian Africa witch doctor, like the
woo,
Afro chicken heads, all of that, girl. I'm hearing from home and I'm
my.
gagging. I'm like, what? So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh no, you got family members like I'm not going in the house. I'm not going to. They scared because you know Emma has a Haitian
Yeah.
background. Girl, when them
Yeah.
Haitians get into that stuff, they be in it like for real. It's another level. So now I'm hearing about what's going on, and I'm just like, I'm hearing it, and I'm like, the wife, he changed his name. The wife is like not allowing. To said they're gonna have a ceremony for him. Do not mention Jesus. Do not mention anything with God. Is she put that explicitly in the event, right? It's gonna be like these priests, ancestral priests, and it's like when this man died, what erupted out of his death was chaos. I think his stepdad just he died. He was dead for like a month, and then his stepdad fell and died, and it was just like chaos is of witchcraft and discord all over the place. And it's like I would be here for hours to tell you all the stuff that was happening, but it was like in his death, it erected just spiritual warfare and witchcraft. And I was like, yo, I said to Edme, I said, Edme, listen, this man was more evil than you think he was. Because the way he died,
Mhm.
the what is being birthed out of his death, that tells you everything about who he really was. Okay? So now, boom, when Charlie dies, all of America is mourning. He's a hero. Like you can see the seeds of who this man really was, that even in his death, how he's going out, right? But now, you people that'll be like, oh no, why you ruffling feathers? Why you, saying something? Da, da, da. You're not there's gonna be no honor in your life when you pass on. You're gonna have your cousins and
Mhm.
aunts there, they're gonna cry a little bit boo hoo hoo, and then next week they'll be talking about something else. There will be no
That's
legacy
right.
left for you. There will be nothing left for you. You will not be stamped a hero on this earth, and definitely not in heaven, because you were a coward. Cowards go to hell. Revelation says that
Mhm.
respectfully. I'm not trying to cast you to hell. The Bible says it. Cowards go to hell. So
Yeah.
you will live this life. This is the thing. The Matrix. If y'all haven't watched the movie The Matrix, I feel like in this hour, watch The Matrix. Like I feel like every Christian,
That's
it's a
right.
mandate for me. If you give your life to Christ, like my brother's mom just got baptized, I told her watch The Matrix. We'll talk after you watch The Matrix. Because once you watch The Matrix and you understand like the concept of the movie, that's literally what it is.
Uh-huh. Bing,
Yes,
eyes
because we
open.
in living in assimilation. Like this world is a form
That's
of a
right.
demonic assimilation, and you don't even realize you plug. And then when Neo comes out of that water, that's a form of the baptism, being born again. So
Very it's very interesting that the womb is called the matrix in the King James version of the Bible, which
Riley,
is very,
oh,
very interesting,
right,
by the way.
it's the matrix. So you when you
Yeah,
come up,
it's the
like we're
matrix.
living, you guys don't realize
When you come out of the
when you come up
water,
out of that water, you unplug.
called
You
the
out of the
matrix.
matrix,
Uh-huh.
but now you think Neo
You
was
out of the
trained to go back in it and be in dominion in it. He still went back in
That's
it, but
right.
he went in with dominion. Wow. But the
Yeah,
reality is a lot of y'all are in the matrix, and it even says in the matrix, like those that are plugged in, sometimes they don't want to be unplugged. And they're willing to fight you
right.
before they're unplugged from the matrix. They don't want it. They don't want to be in Zion.
They don't
They
want
don't
it.
want Zion. They want to stay in the
Yeah,
matrix. You're
that's
in a
right.
you're in a living a lie of delusion. You're not really where you think you are. You're living a life. It's a chicken circuit. You get up every day. You work a job you don't want to be at. You pay bills you don't want to pay. You don't walk in the fullness of what you know inside of you is greater than what you're living, and you literally live and die
Right.
in it. But then on top of that, you tell other people to do the same and get mad at them. because you don't ruffle feathers. You're scared to ruffle feathers because you're living in a chicken circuit and you want them to do what you're doing. So now when they pull up
Yeah.
in that G wagon with that cross on the side, and they got their wife and kids, and they traveling the world, and they ain't gotta only take 2 week paid vacations, and they can go from Japan to China to here, flying, preaching the gospel, and they get to experience life. You mad? But you the one talking about, oh, well, don't ruffle feathers, don't say nothing. No, you're plugged into the matrix.
Yeah, but we recently, just in this whole thing, my husband and I both just this lit us up. And I mean, already I'm a podcaster, already I've gotten death threats, already in just, podcasting, you get them too. It happens when you're a public figure, okay? It's just part of the deal. But this really lit my husband and I up again. And it was like, you know what? No
No,
compromise. We're not placating these, demonized people anymore. This is done. And we've had people even within our circles say, no, you know what? We just need to talk to people more and we just need more kumbaya. And I said, no, 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 no. Listen, Luke 10:19 says Jesus talks about the authority and walking in his authority, and the disciples go out in his authority, and the disciples come back and they say, who are you in this authority that the demons would
this
even
Jackson.
tremble? And
Yes.
Jesus says to the disciples, he says, don't rejoice that the
Right.
demons know your name, but
Name
rejoice
is
that
written
your name is
in,
registered in
yes,
heaven,
in
right?
the Lamb's Book of
He's
Life.
he's saying, "Man, you've ruffled feathers. Yeah, you're getting it. You have ruffled their feathers, but don't rejoice that those ones are, but rejoice that your name is registered in heaven." So you know what? Bach, bach. You know what?
Yes, that's
That's right.
right.
I'm
That's
ruffling.
right.
We are ruffling feathers in the name of Jesus, because not because they know our name, but because
That's
our
it.
name is
It
registered
begins
in
and ends.
heaven.
What you said is so important to me. I think it begins and ends there. I don't think Charlie
Yeah.
went around. First of all, for me, dang, I'm gonna say something very controversial. People not gonna like it, but I'm gonna call a spade a spade.
Yeah. Why stop now, girl?
Right?
Why stop now?
I'm gonna just
Why
say how I
stop
feel.
now?
You know, a commentator who builds their career to ruffle feathers. Okay, I'm gonna be a little challenging for people, but I'm gonna be honest. When I see a Candace Owens, I feel like a Candace Owens is someone who is a commentator and she kind of calls out a spade, but she really just ruffles feathers. And sometimes I think she likes it. Sometimes I think she just likes
Mhm.
the controversial of ruffling feathers. I'm not hating on her for that. I feel like that's where she's at. And I'm comparing them two because I see them as very similar. But with Charlie, I didn't see someone that wanted to ruffle feathers. I see someone who wanted to make a difference and change. Like there was a real heart in me for him, what I saw, to just change. He wanted to see change. He wanted to make a difference. And there's a difference. And I'm not knocking Candace Owens at all. I'm not knocking her career. God bless her. But the spirit in which you do things sometimes, it's like okay, if you go out and you get dressed, and let's just say you getting dressed and you just want to put on something nice and you just want to feel good and just wear something nice, right? And now if I get dressed and I get dressed because I want to be the cutest girl there. I want to look better than everybody. I want to smell good. And I'm saying this because you know how girls are.
Of course.
You know how they give it up. So
Of
now
course.
you got certain girls that get dressed for to be the best. To I'm gonna show girls gonna be mad because I'm cute. And then you got some girls, this is pretty and I'm feeling good. And I'm just curl my hair and I'm in a vibe and I want some jewelry on. I'm feeling good. When those two walk in the room, there's a difference. And when the one who did not look for the attention gets it, the one who wanted it, it's hard because that was the agenda.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying to
Oh,
you?
I know. That
You are
that
female. You know
friction.
what I'm saying to
Yeah.
you.
That
Okay?
friction. Mhm.
You know them girls.
Yeah.
And it's like for me, my dad used to tell me all the time when I was a kid, you think you hot, but there's always somebody hotter. So stay
Yeah.
hungry. My dad would
Yeah.
tell me that all the time. And so what I realize is about that is you got some people that are gifted. They can come out here, they can debate, they could chop you down with facts, da, 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 and they lit. But you got some people that are glorified.
Yeah.
They're not just gifted, but they walk in a glory. And their heart intent is so different that it's like when a person, if you cook me, if I cooked you a meal and I did it with love, and you cooked me a meal and you did it because I was hungry, it's gonna taste different. We
Mhm.
can do the same recipe, same steps, same things, but if I did it with love, if I took my time and I just wanted to make this meal because I love cooking versus
Yeah.
you doing it because you hungry, the meal is gonna taste different coming
Yeah.
from my hands.
Yeah, you're
You understand what I'm
100%.
saying to you?
Oh, 100%.
Right. So what I'm saying is this, because I know people start to hear certain names and think, "Oh, you're talking junk," and that. Please don't be immature. Just we are adults, and I believe anybody listening to this podcast is mature in Christ enough to just receive things because you got to understand, as Christians, we have a brain. We have to process things that we see every day, and you'd be surprised how much we're seeing the same thing. But the issue isn't seeing it. The thing is making sure that we process it in a biblical way. And
Yep.
we don't process things in offense and in jealousy and in
Yeah.
anger, but we just take the biblical approach of understanding, love, and compassion while we're processing what we see. Right?
Right.
Because sometimes we don't want to process it because we think, oh, I'm being judgmental. No, 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 no. You're just processing it, but you can process through love, compassion, gentleness, all the things, fruit of the spirit, right?
Yeah.
So, boom, with that being said, Charlie hits different because his heart was different.
Yeah.
His agenda was different. So his blessings were different.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Everything
100%.
for him was different because
Yeah.
here it says out of the heart the mouth speaks.
Yeah.
So what comes from that heart? That's what's gonna manifest. But then it also says the power of the tongue is gonna establish the things of your life.
Yeah.
So we just think it's our words, but what we fail to realize is it's our heart's intent too. Because you can have someone say, I want to be a millionaire. They're a millionaire, but now they're so bound in sin
Yeah.
because the millions only made it worse. But then you can have someone that wants to be a millionaire for the kingdom. And now they touch the million, and then they touch three, and then they touch four, then they touch five, then they touch 20, then they touch 30, and they're just dominating in kingdom movement. And the wealth has not consumed them because the heart was different.
Wow. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that's Charlie for me. That's
Yeah.
Charlie, and that's what makes Charlie different. And what Charlie represented, all these young kids about to come and do that of that same heart
Yeah. The
of
kingdom
Jesus.
heart. Mhm.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And it's not about, like you said, ruffling feathers. Charlie didn't come outside on some, yeah, I'm about to tell this person why they this and I'm that and I'm smarter than them and da, 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 da. Now he had a slogan, prove me wrong, but he was provoking their ego.
Right.
But he was very patient with these kids. He was funny. He he would do debates about basketball, LeBron versus Jordan. Like he was such a downy earth, chill guy. But you can see when he debates, you could see a person whose heart was just to see change and to provoke their minds and to just challenge them in a sense to do better. A
Right.
real parent challenges their kid to do better, right? And so he was being a parent, really, to all of these kids, to hundreds and thousands of kids. He was being a form of a parent and a brother
Right.
at the same time to these children. And that's why when you just center your heart on Christ, it's not about ruffling feathers. Just operate from love. Now, sometimes love is going to ruffle feathers for those who don't want love. But at the end of the day, what's your heart's intent? When you tell this man, listen, bro, homosexuality is sin. Are you telling them because you right? You want to be right? Oh, yeah, yeah, you're gay. You're going to go to hell because you're a sinner. All right, what you're saying is true, but your heart ain't right. As for me, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, you're not going to go to hell. You're just going to be out here getting poked in the butt and go to heaven. No, I'm not going to tell you that. But I'm going to be like, bro, out of love, you degrading your own body.
Right.
Like, respect. Let's take heaven. I've told Christians this. I mean, homosexual people this. I said, listen, let's take Jesus and heaven off the table for a second. Let's just take it off the table. I'm gonna talk to you as a man. You have a penis and an anus, and your anus was not designed for that. And there's sickness and disease that can come from you mistreating your body. Okay? I am concerned about your health. I'm concerned about your well-being, because living that lifestyle, it is not healthy. There is a lot of internal torment that comes with living that lifestyle. You cannot tell me that a man that, and I'm a man or woman, but once you cross that threshold and you as a man lay in bed with another man, there's some things in you that are being broken. Things that were naturally designed, your masculinity, your manhood, your setup as a man, it's being broken with every encounter you're having with another man. You understand? And it's a
Right.
degrading thing you're doing to yourself. My Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. How can you love your neighbor when you're doing these things to yourself? You're hurting yourself.
Right.
So when it comes from that heart, it changes the game. It does ruffle feathers, but it's a different level.
Right. Yeah. It's not condemnation, it's coming from love, from a place of love. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I don't know what happened to my camera. Let me fix it. There we go. You know, Satan be hating.
Yeah, all that technical difficulty. But listen, we just keep pumping out the truth. That's all it is. Listen, I know you got to run, and we could just keep speaking truth all day long. I know you got to run. Before you leave, and thank you so much for coming on, my friend. I love talking to you. We could talk
Yes,
we
that's
could talk all
perfect.
day. But
Yes.
before you do, you guys, Bevelyn, if you don't know her story, um, man, she just keeps going to the side because, maybe she's tired. She wants to take a nap. Hey, I don't know. She got a baby. Her baby is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, you guys. Her and Ricky have got this baby girl. Oh gosh. Anyway, so if you don't know Bevelyn's story, Bevelyn is also a warrior. Charlie is a warrior, was a warrior, is a warrior. Still, he's watching us now, cheering from that great cloud of witnesses. The scriptures say that if we could only see uh, the great cloud of witnesses that is cheering us on, championing us as we are running our race. Now, Charlie is part of that great cloud of witnesses. If we could only see, we would cast off every weight of sin and run our race without any burden holding us down. So anything that is burdening you, if you have any weight of sin, cast it off and run, because that is what Charlie would be cheering you on, like a race. If you've ever run a race, and the people at the end of the race are jingling cowbells and holding up signs saying, run, run, run for that
Right.
finish line. That is what he's doing for you today.
Right.
Along with anyone else that you love who is a champion of faith, who has passed on and is with the Lord today. They are cheering you on in that great cloud of witnesses. And so anyway, Bevelyn is also a champion. Man, the things that she has been through, but she was protesting outside of a Planned Parenthood, and we all know that in 2020, and in these last 5 years, but in the last really decade, justice systems have been weaponized, and things really just went bananas in this
Yeah.
country. And people standing up went really sideways and awry. And there's been many people who were just persecuted and falsely received sentences. And Bevelyn is one of those people who stood for justice and stood for life, and were anyway. Bevelyn's story is incredible, and while we don't have time to go into her whole story now because we've spent this last hour, we were only supposed to do a half an hour. Now we spent this
Okay.
whole
And I gotta go
hour,
in 2 minutes.
and she's got to go in 2 minutes. A movie was made about her life. And so,
Yes.
since we don't have time to go into it, I want you to go see the movie. And the
Yeah.
movie is
Go
called
watch it.
Pardon Me. And
Yes.
so they've had, she formerly was known as Black China in her former life, but now Angela White is her name. And she portrays Bevelyn in her role.
Yes.
And now actress and she actually, Angela, has received a lot of backlash for standing up and standing into this role, because Bevelyn received a lot of backlash. As we see these sick people, these sick, demonized people who are standing against Charlie, and all of these horrible things. We have these same demonized people who stood against Bevelyn, and anybody who stands up against, it stands for truth and doing what's right. Well, Angela, Black China, Angela, a lot of people have stood against her for standing up and taking this role. And so um, you want to speak to it? I'm, just blabbering on about your life and your movie. Fill
Just
in
go
where
to
I.
watchpardonme.com. Watchpardonme.com, where you can stream the movie from there. The theaters did not let us play it there, and that's okay. We
Yeah,
don't we don't need them. We don't need them. We got
I'll
Jesus and
link
we
it.
got
I'll link it. Link it.
yeah.
Link it.
Watchpardonme.com. Go there to view the movie. Also, yeah, I mean, I think you should just watch the movie.
Yeah.
You might know my story, but you'll really get it in detail. I was pardoned by Trump. I was and Charlie was one of them who announced it when Trump signed my pardon. Charlie was like, Bevelyn's coming out. Ah, rah. Like Charlie was just 10 toes down for us and had our back while we was locked up. And so I did 3 months in federal prison. Thank God it was just only 3 months. Some of my friends did 16, 18 months. They treated us like dogs. And yeah, they threw us in jail for our faith and for our belief in life. Um, and yeah, so um, watch the movie. I believe the movie is revolutionary, and my movie is a little like it ruffles a bit of feathers because it exposes the agenda with the Black community and how much they use us. Um, and it's a beautiful story of trusting God and having faith in God and Him seeing you to the end. And so definitely tune into that movie. And thank you so much for having me, girl. Like, just
Yeah.
thank you for bringing me on. It was an amazing conversation. We do have to do this again because this was
Of
really
course.
fun.
Yes.
And
And your
you guys,
ministries, it's called At the Well.
At the Well, if you want to connect with me in any way, shape, or form, go to atwellministries.org. Again, atwellministries.org. And you can also find that sublink on watchpardonme.com. Go
Watch.
watch that movie and you can connect with me on watchpardonme.com. And yeah, God is good.
And I'll link it all. All right. We love
All
you,
right.
Bevelyn. Thank you so
God
much for
bless
coming.
you.
All
It
right.
was a pleasure. Bye, you
All
guys.
right. Bye. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad that you have come to hang out with us. And I just, the remedy for all of this going on in the world today is Jesus. And He is the remedy for my life. He is the remedy for your life. And, if you don't know Him, if you want to know Jesus, uh, just cry out to Him today. Just say, Jesus, I want to know you. And you can send me a message, and I will get a Bible to you. You can go to sarahamazinggrace.com, and I will also have all of the links down below for Watch Pardon Me and for Bevelyn's ministry as well. Have a wonderful day. God bless you guys. Peace.